Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we will demonstrate the procedure followed in InsuranceOne in order to record and keep track of every claim generated by vehicle or motor accidents. Let's assume that an officer receives a phone call regarding the incident of a car crash for one of our insured customers. The officer selects the claims management form in order to record the incident. Firstly, the data regarding the type of the coverage are typed in. As this is a car insurance incident, the officer begins to type in car insurance so that the system can automatically find the proper coverage. After that, the beneficiary who had the accident needs to be defined. As the officer types in the name of the customer, we can see how the system proposed the proper names of the beneficiaries that are already recorded in the system. Based on the customer and the type of the coverage, the right policy number is selected by the system. After that, the subject of this claim needs to be completed. This, for example, might be a short description such as car accident and the date. Details such as the origin of this incident through the telephone, for example, the type of this incident, for example, car accident losses, and the specific type of damages, such as, for example, injuries and damages, might also be specified. Which is really important is for the officer to define the expert who will be in charge of the evaluation of the losses caused by this accident. So in the expert field, the officer might select from the list of the expert's employees the one who will be in charge. In this case, let's assume that Jim Taylor will do the evaluation. Another important information is the back officer who will be in charge of the progress of this claim. In the handled by information, the system automatically selects the user that is already logged in and records this claim. However, it is possible to select a different back officer, for example, Alexander. Subsequently, the next action regarding this claim should be defined. In the Activities tab, by selecting Activity, a new form pops up. Here, in the Activities module, the officer should record all the actions that need to be done and assigned to specific users. For example, in this case, let's assume that the next step will be a task assigned to the expert, in this case, Jim, and the content of this activity should be the evaluation of the damages for this car accident, for this car crash, let's say. This content may also be the general remark for this activity. The start time and end time, as well as the date of this activity, should also be defined. So let's assume that this will be done at 6:30 and it would last for an hour. The priority of this task might be low, normal or high. Now we are ready to add this activity and also this claim to the system. What is really important is that now that an activity is assigned to Jim, if we go to the calendar and specifically to the calendar of the employee Jim, who is the expert for this claim, we can see now how this task, the evaluation of the accident, is immediately obvious to his calendar so that he will be informed that this action needs to be done and of course for the date and the hour of this action. After the evaluation is completed, the authorized user should go back to this claim and in the expert amount the first evaluation of the losses is defined. Let's assume in this case that the expert evaluation is 350 euros. Also, some further attachments should be recorded here. For example, some of the documents of the car and the license of the driver. Here we can attach all these documents. And also, a new activity, for example, should be defined, such as a task for the back officer to examine and decide for the compensation of the beneficiary. Let's assume that this would be also the content. Some further attachments can also be recorded here. As we can see, this action is also directly recorded in the activity of this claim. Through the History tab, we can see how all these actions are recorded and put together in order to have an overall view of this incident. So, this is the example so far for one single claim that was generated for a contract beneficiary due to a car accident caused by himself. But let's assume that the car accident has also injured two persons who are not insured in our company but suffered from injuries, so they demand for a compensation. In this case, a claim should be recorded for each one of them. This procedure is similar to the steps that were just demonstrated. So let's assume for the incident of the car crash, a victim has also suffered from damages and asks for a compensation. So in this case, the officer selects once again the claims management form. What is essential is that in this case, the claim type is no longer for a beneficiary as previously presented, but concerns a third-party victim. In the description, the officer selects car insurance once again. Also, if the business partner name, the name of the victim that asks for the compensation, is completed. Of course, the policy number also needs to be defined. As a subject, the officer can write a small description, for example, damages due to accident, and then specify the origin, the problem type, and the problem subtype, that is damages. Subsequently, the expert who will do the evaluation for this claim is chosen, as well as the back officer who will handle the progress of this claim from now on. In the loss assessment field, the officer should define the amount that the victim asks in the first place. So let's assume that in this case, Mary Donaldson is asking for 1,500 euros. What is also essential in this case is to define the main claim of this incident. So what's happened here is that because it is a third-party claim, there is a main incident that is connected with it. In this case, it's the incident of the car crash and the number of the incident 32 that is recorded for our beneficiary. Also, in the master claim field, we define that this is a subclaim. As previously demonstrated, the Activities tab is also used in this case for the recording and the assignment of specific tasks and actions about this claim. Also, the Attachment tab is used for all the documentation that needs to be completed in order to do the evaluation and the approval or rejection of this claim. So now we may add this subclaim to the system. If we go back, as the subclaim evaluation goes on, here in the claim status, for example, once the expert evaluation is completed, in the expert amount, we complete the amount that the expert has estimate, and in the claim status we can select that this is an ongoing subclaim because the evaluation procedure is not yet completed. So once all the documentation is reviewed by the authorized users and all the approval procedure is completed, the claim status is ready to be defined either or rejected or approved. So let's assume that in this case, this subclaim is approved. The payment amount is the one defined by the expert. And of course, the payment date, let's assume that it will be the 15th of May. And now we are already ready to update this subclaim. So as all this procedure goes on, it is important that in the main claim, in the incident number 32, the user may have access to the subclaims and the main information of its subclaim. So if we go back to the claim management form, and specifically to the number incident 32, we will see that because the subclaim is defined for this main incident, here in the master claim, this is defined as the master claim, and in the independent claims field, a yellow arrow is created. This arrow is created once the first subclaim is generated. So if we select this link, we can see that in this form, the policy number and the main incident number are defined, as well as the documentation date and the coverage code and description. Also, the insured capital is defined. In the details of this form, we can see the related claims ID, the status, which is approved in this case, the initial amount, the expert amount, and the final compensation amount, because this is an approved claim, and of course the payment date and the victim who will receive this compensation. So as we can see, the total compensation amount also here is 1,250 euros. So this form is automatically updated each time that every subclaim has a change, and it is used so that we can have a direct access to through the main claim to the dependent claims and the status for each one of them. So once a claim or a subclaim is approved, then that means that an obligation for payment needs to be recorded in the system. This is done through the claim document. So in this case, let's assume for the victim, Mary Donaldson, in this form we select the name. So in this case, Mary Donaldson, the policy number, the posting date, so let's assume that will be today, and the due date, it will be the payment date. The system automatically suggests the date, but of course we can define this if it needs to be modified. In the description, the authorized user should select what type of compensation is concerned. So this is a motor claim, which automatically selects the proper GL account. And of course, the amount of the compensation needs to be defined in the level of this document. So now we are ready to add this claim document and create the obligation of payment. This obligation should also be done automatically through the approval procedure of each subclaim. So if a subclaim is approved, then automatically the claim document should be created by the system. So once the due date of each claim document arrives, then the accounting department can proceed with the payment of these obligations through the standard SAP Business One banking functionality. This concludes the demonstration of how we record and keep track of every claim or sub-claim that is generated by a vehicle or a motor accident in InsuranceOne. Thank you for watching.